Hi, welcome to She Spice. You know, it's really intriguing to track down a Hollywood VIP with a name as valuable as fortune, yet ask anybody on the road who the most pleasant person in Tinseltown is, and there's just a single name, Keanu Reeves. He's been reliably hailed as perhaps the most darling figure in Hollywood for quite a while now, and the surprising thing is that the man doesn't actually have a whiff of embarrassment attached to his name. We, as a whole, know him for his famous roles in blockbuster hits like The Network and John Wick. Reeves has turned into an image of trustworthiness in mainstream society culture, and his fan base simply continues to develop. Yet did you at any point find out about when this practically wonderful man apparently annoyed Hollywood and addressed a weighty cost for it? Imagine being debased for nearly 10 years since you will not play by their guidelines. This story brings back what Katt Williams has been talking about, despite the fact that he and Keanu come from various corners of the diversion world. Williams' words actually sound valid. They're all essential for a similar game under the enormous umbrella of Hollywood. Williams has stood in opposition to the higher-ups who call the shots, controlling who's in and who's out on the off chance that you don't toe the line or you say something they could do without. They'll clear you off of the image, and by and large, numerous VIPs oblige it since they pine for popularity and influence. You understand that the main occupation of someone who sold their spirit in Hollywood is to behave as if it didn't occur. They all do similar work, yet Keanu Reeves has forever been different. He's never been one to pursue the spotlight for the good of his own. For him, everything revolves around craftsmanship. Despite the fact that he works in a similar industry, he's figured out how to avoid the snares that have trapped so many others, and it's cost him profoundly in a 2019 visit with GQ. Reeves let the cat out of the bag about his spell in film prison. He said Fox Studios put him on their boycott after he turned down the spin-off, and that boycott endured an astounding 14 years. We should rewind to 1994, a brilliant year for films. Raw Fiction, The Shaw Knife Reclamation, The Lion Lord, and Timberland Gum, in addition to being activity addicts, had a ton of fun with flicks like The Crow Genuine Falsehoods. Leon the Expert, and obviously the one that set Keanu up for life speed, this flick wowed pundits as well as transformed Reeves and Sandra Bullock into superstars. Short term, it rounded up an incredible $350 million against a $38 million financial plan. Yet every example of overcoming adversity has its clouded side, and KU Speed's victory was a situation with two sides. After the sales registers rang clearly, the studio normally needed a continuation, and on the off chance that you're doing a Speed continuation, you get to bring back the first stars. Sandra Bullock was ready. Yet when it came to Keanu, things hit a hindrance. It turns out Reeves wasn't excessively enthusiastic about the thought, so when Speed 2 Voyage Control hits theaters, you won't find Keanu Reeves in the driver's seat. They got Jason Patric to play some cop named Alex Shaw, but we should be genuine. He didn't have that Keanu Reeves vibe, that unique something that made the principal Speed a hit. The Chief and his co-star, Sandra Bullock, entreated Reeves to return for the spin-off. I said I read the content, and I can't. It's called Speed, and it's on a voyage transport. Reeves reviewed to Esquire he turned down the detailed $5 million compensation for the film, and, on second thought, returned to the theater in Canada to play Hamlet for under $2,000 for 7 days. Clearly, Fox wasn't precisely excited by Reeves. The studio began spreading tales, saying he dumped the spin-off of Visit with his band Canine star, yet that is a long way from reality, he demanded, so what held him back from acting quickly was William Dio's Buggy. First of all, he was undeniably actioned out. Reeves had recently wrapped up Chain Response, and he depicted the experience as truly unsuitable bunches of running loads of activity and not much satisfaction. This was way before Reeves transformed into the John Wick we know today. In any case, the entire Chain Response passed on him feeling depleted. He wasn't prepared to plunge into another activity flick so soon, particularly after barely getting away from a hydrogen blast. In the primary speed, his director let the cat out of the bag to diversion, week by week saying he would have rather not done two activity films one after the other, and on top of that, Reeves had broken his lower leg in a bike mishap. So jumping into that multitude of oceanic tricks for voyage control presumably didn't sound too engaging yet. Hollywood didn't appear to think often about Reeves or his well-being. Rather, they chose to treat him with utter disdain. Turns out not doing the movie could have been the best move. Speed 2, which hit venues in 1997, was an epic failure. It just rounded up $64.5 million against a strong spending plan of $110 to $160 million or more. It's broadly viewed as one of the most terrible spin-offs ever, with a sad spoiled tomato score of 4%, so in the end, it was Hollywood's misfortune. Not Keanu now. Aside from being renounced, Keanu Reeves has confronted some serious individual difficulty while building his noteworthy vocation and heavenly standing. All through his process, he's needed to manage a few unfortunate misfortunes affecting individuals near him. Back in the last part of the 90s, not long before the turn of the 1,000 years, Reeves' sister Kim was fighting leukemia. Simultaneously, he was involved with entertainer Jennifer Sim. They met in '98 and were expecting their most memorable kid together. Yet, unfortunately, their girl Ava was as yet brought into the world in '99. This staggering misfortune negatively affected their relationship, and they split soon after they might have attempted to fix things up later on, yet it never fully worked out. Then, in 2001, Sim was engaged with a deadly fender bender in the wake of going out, in spite of not being together at the Tim. Her demise hit Reeves hard on top of that. Reeves was additionally dear companions with one more rising star in Hollywood Stream Phoenix. You could recall him from his breakout job in Reserve Me close by Corey Feldman. Unfortunately, in 1993, at only 23 years of age, Phoenix kicked the bucket from an overdose at the Snake Room in Hollywood with his sibling, who was close by. Reeves had co-starred with Waterway in the 1991 Gus Van Sant movie, In My Own Confidential Idaho. As per Reeves, he and Waterway were uncertain about the content at first, so the two made, to some degree, a plan to be in the film together. I recall there was a sort of discussion on sickle levels south of Nightfall. Reeves told Esquire Gracious I reviewed such a great deal those days with Waterway. Reeves expressed that after Waterway's demise, the entertainer was naturally troubled. I miss him beyond a doubt, and I know countless individuals miss him sincerely. Reeves uncovered it's something he thinks about pretty much constantly. Something he never truly discusses, and companions know not to go there with him. One of Reeves' companions enlightened individuals regarding the misfortune, even though he'd had to deal with Keanu. Reeves remains perhaps one of the most sensible and truly kind VIPs out there, and he has stayed hopeful in spite of all that. Keanu left a lot of wet eyes in the crowd in studio and at home during a 2019 appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, subsequent to discussing mortality as to John Wick 3. Colbert asked the entertainer how his thought process occurs after we bite the dust after a snapshot of thought. Reeves answered, "And I realize that the ones who love us will miss us." What do you think happens when we pass on Keanu Reeves? I realize that the ones who love us will miss us. Additionally, consistently we hear additional endearing stories from fans who've met him or from his co-stars, and it lights up the very first moment of the coolest things about Keanu is the way he's continuously able to put others before himself. Take his beginning liberality, for instance, as opposed to being a diva. He's an all-out legend. Back in '99, he made a lot of money for featuring in The Lattice. Yet he chose to give a major lump of it, supposedly around $75 million, to the Enhancements Group. And other in the background, people he felt they merited it more than he. And when he was at the pinnacle of his heartbreaker status, Keanu energetically took a $2 million compensation cut for the argumentative third party, just so the studio could stand to get significant burdens like Al Pacino. In addition to he sliced his check by an astounding 90% for the substitutions to make sure they could catch Gene Hackman. Yet it's not just about cash. Keanu fans are continually flabbergasted by his regard for his female co-stars and fans, just as an ever-increasing number of male stars are awful and even conduct has been uncovered over the course of the years. Keanu has arisen as the highest quality level in spite of the fact that he has developed extraordinary associations with his female co-stars on set. His authentic conduct on Honorary Pathway has additionally gathered him acclaim. It's normal for male stars to fold their arms over their female co-stars while modeling for the cameras, and numerous ladies in Hollywood wouldn't see any problems. The presentation from their companions and associates. Yet Reeves seems to put his co-stars' solace up front. In 2019, virtual entertainment was awash in acclaim for him after fans saw that he has a propensity for allowing his hand to drift behind the ladies he presents with instead of contacting them. The move was viewed as a sign of civility to his driving women and a sign that he would have rather no attacked their own space. Likewise, the grid star gives extravagantly to Noble, frequently namelessly. Reeves was purportedly roused by his more youthful sister Kim's past fight with leukemia and has since taken to giving critical sums to kids' clinics and disease research searches to offer back anyway. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.